Welcome to Heart Over Ego Radio, a collection of podcasts designed to enhance your spiritual journey. Join us on Mondays with the Alchemy Sisters and Creating Heaven on Earth. Tuesdays, Star Medicine Podcast and KT Talk Show. Wednesdays, Political Star Talk. Thursdays, the Optimistic Wellness Podcast. Fridays, Turn Yourself In, Self-Mastery for the Intuitive Sensitive Empath. And The Witching Hour, as well as Horror Magic, a show designed to heal stigma around sexuality. Saturdays, Seen and Heard, a podcast about abuse. And Shining the Light on Sex Trafficking. And Sundays, Gather Round for One for All Is Love with Sonia Spirit. We are Heart Over Ego Radio. Find us on any podcast app, Facebook and Instagram. Search Heart Over Ego Radio.
Hello and welcome to Creating Heaven on Earth, ascending from the 3D to the 5D. You are here with Mandee and Martin, and most weeks I like to host a chat with an individual to discuss what the collective ascension is and how we as individuals assist that. I'm so excited for today to welcome on my guest, Martin McNicholl, who is a loving, compassionate, raw, authentic messenger who seeks to unify and create freedom as we co-create this new world. Welcome, Martin. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm beautiful. How are you doing?
I'm so excited to hold space with you. We're connecting over the Atlantic today. I'm on East Coast time in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And can you share with us where you are?
Yes, I am in Portugal, in the south of Portugal. So just across the pond from you. I'm sure we can wave in some level. So in the south coast of Portugal, been here for a few years. And excited to connect with you today across the airwaves.
Me too, brother. We've been connected for a little while now in many groups on Facebook, and I'm so excited in this lifetime to hold a nice discussion with you and with our listeners.
Absolutely. Really looking forward to it as well. And I love that we have very, very similar kind of style and that we just let it flow. So I'm excited to hear what's wanting to be birthed between this co-creation. So fun.
Absolutely. Me too. These podcasts I've come to notice, they've become I call them jam sessions because it's become like a kind of new frequency in music and a new way to share a healing art. And I love it. So I'm excited to jam with you.
That's that jam. I've never heard that before. I love that. That's perfect. That's exactly, you've given a word to something that I couldn't really put it. That's it perfectly. Yeah. That's jam.
It is, yeah. We're going to jam, brother. So on that note, will you share with our listeners just a little bit about who you are, your magic in the world right now, and how they can get a hold of you?
Sure. So my body is in Portugal, but my heart is in Ireland. I've spent most of my life in Ireland. About 10 years ago, my consciousness started to open up and expand a little bit, and I thought I could run away from my problems. So I started running, and I haven't really stopped running since. But somewhere along the line, I found some wings, and I was able to fly some of the parts as well. And I went from addictions and a lot of dysfunctional living to really living a beautiful, beautiful life. I've just become a father a couple of years ago, 2-year-old son, and met my life partner, and we're just living the life that we wish to live and helping and serving others in their transformation, and just really loving life with its challenges and with its joy, everything together. My whole journey is about authenticity and really sharing the highs, the lows, the in-between, the parts that sometimes you don't get to hear, no censoring, no stopping anything coming through. I'd like to share that, and it's always been my journey. And I'm quite active on Facebook, and I'm on all the social media. I guess that Facebook would be the most active, and I have a website, martinmcnicholl.com. But live, like this, the way live interactions and in the moment, and now I'm going to be adding jam sessions is what I really love, because I don't know what you do, but I cannot plan anything now. It seems everything has to be in the moment. If I try and plan it, it just gets shut down. So I just like to be in flow, and whatever whenever wishes to arrive. Something interesting is happening, like memory. When we talk about it, I call it 5D forgetting. Like memory and those things like past and planning and linear, those things are becoming so malleable, let's say, or non-existent in some cases. So I like to just be in the moment as you do, and that's what we're here for today. So yeah, excited.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. It's true. We're all navigating this wild chapter of 2020, and no matter where you are in the world, everybody feels threatened in some way or another because of the confines that we have going on and the restrictions in certain places. And there's now is more of the time than ever to step into your flow and show up for yourself and allow whatever's going to happen without attachment. I know for me, I had all these plans of opening an in-person Reiki studio and hosting an in-person retreat and several in-person events. And that didn't happen this year because of the restrictions of COVID and whatnot. But I've come to realize it's okay. And I'm meant to be exactly where I'm at right now and trust that it's all happening for the highest good. And I've also noticed as I've kind of begun to ascend more and more on my own path that, certain energies that just no longer serve you or might be taking up too much of your precious time are going to fall away for you. I feel like we have a lot of assistance and help from our higher selves and guides that are helping to clear the path for a lot of us right now.
Absolutely. And that path is, as always, is the path inward. Because, what I see this whole everything is a mass awakening event. This is a global awakening. You can look at it at many different levels, but that's the level that I wish to share about. This is a global awakening, and these circumstances are for the majority of the world in a way that's never happened necessarily before, is to turn within and be inside and be not in this constant search outward. The outward masculine, patriarchal, societal systems that are crumbling now, that's what are being shut down. And many people can look at their individual circumstances and see that this is personal. And I truly believe that this is a global mass awakening of humanity, and we're being given an opportunity to go through our, in the 40 days, 40 days, quarantina actually means 40 days. In Italian, I think it is, quarantine, it comes from the root words that means 40 days, and many of the wisdom teachings, there's this 40 days. Of course, it would be more than 40 days, but it's like our nights in the desert. It's the dark year of the ego. It's the initiatory processes for this global awakening. So wherever you are, whoever is listening to this, I just want to offer that perspective that how it seems on the surface is not always exactly what is going on, and most times it's not, and that everyone's in a perfect position where they are in challenges as it is for all of us. But the timing is perfect and we're in the perfect location. We've just got to turn within and see what it is showing us and what opportunities it is bringing for me.
Beautiful. I love looking up words, and I haven't looked up quarantine yet, but that's fascinating that it means 40 days, which, as you were saying, is so important in so many different religious traditions and other, cultural traditions. But really, it's an opportunity, 40 days. It takes at least 14 to 21 days to start to change a habit. So 40 days feels like such a nice incubator of creating change that you want in your life.
Yes, yeah. And I agree that you're given an extended period of that. I just use that quarantine because we use the word quarantine. We're given an extended period of that because we've been in such an extended period of sleep, of we've been separated from each other. Another perspective, like on what's going on now, what we're being shown on the physical level is representing the masks that we have worn to each other. We've hidden our faces, we've hidden our true self, we've not been ourselves, our true self to everyone, everywhere, every when. We've distanced ourselves from certain people, from certain parts of ourselves, and now we're getting a physical manifestation of that. So we're given this extended opportunity because it's an extended period of sleep. But it can all shift in the twinkling of an eye. It can all shift, and it will, I think. it feels like this year has been 5 years. It feels like 5 minutes. It's strange. I don't know how you experience time. It's either like epically long or it's really short for me at times as well.
Oh, time, especially as I've, can just become more aware on my past. Time was always something that was restrictive to me in the past because I was operating very much by the rise and grind societies and working too much and pushing really hard. And then once I kind of had a dark night of the soul, my whole body broke down like 5 years ago. And I went through quite a bit. And as I started to see more clearly and step more into my higher self and more fifth dimensional ways of thinking and perceptions, time changed so much, and it's so fast and so slow all at once for me. And it's so funny because sometimes a whole month will go by and I'll be like, oh, that was like yesterday. It was nothing. And sometimes a week will go by and it'll feel like it was really long. I think it depends so much on what we're working on within our own elevation at that time, how we choose to perceive time. And then sometimes, just to like keep things moving, like if I want to have a radio show, I have to show up at a certain time in the 3D and communicate. And so those things do keep me grounded, and I really like and appreciate that. But as far as when it comes to like honoring a certain amount of time that you either learn something or go through something or grieve, all of that has completely shifted and changed for me.
Absolutely. It's not a limit, like what you said, we felt bound by that, and many of us have, and we felt bound by time before. Now it's a field that we can use. Like we can use it speed up, we can use it slow down. It might not feel like we're doing it consciously, but that's how we have those experiences. You're doing something where you're just completely engrossed. It could be your meditation, not a traditional meditation, anything that puts you in that timeless state. And we just look up and we can't believe an hour's passed, 6 hours has passed. Or then there's other things where we need to be conscious and aware of every single moment in a day seems like a year. And it's a field that we use for experience. It's not something that sequentially moves from one step to another. But as you said, the balance, especially for people that will be listening to this and they're connected in our field, is to not resist the structure of time because it allows freedom. Because, like you just shared, let's say we were so malleable on time, we couldn't have this conversation in the way we do. Because you have one idea, I have another idea, and maybe one day they will meet. But the structure, I think, is a spiritual highway for the patriarchal society as well, where any form of structure seems like a limitation. In actuality, malleable structure gives freedom because I was talking about like the feminine energy. If the feminine energy of the river doesn't have a bank, there's a flood, and it just goes, and it doesn't go back to the ocean in the way that it's designed. So malleable structure, which is the awakened masculine, which flows and ebbs and moves, it doesn't restrict. It allows form. So yeah, we love you able to get this time together.
Me too, and I love the way you described that, because as we are ascending into this newer way of being, we're calling in, our masculine and feminine energies within each being, and we need that structure. There's a reason that ancient Lemuria and, Atlantis and all of those other ancient civilizations didn't continue to go forward in advancement in society at the time, because we weren't ebbing and flowing and working together with those energies. I feel like the masculine energy is like your drive, your gumption, your, way to kind of keep going with the things that you're causing or that you're creating or attracting with an intention. I shared this recently, but my favorite definition of luck is preparation meeting the opportunity. And when you are in flow and you do have a certain structure that works for you, I call it our medicines. Like in the morning, I like to wake up, do my gratitudes, spend time with my dogs, and drop into yoga before I touch the world. So that way I can tune in with myself and see what feels good in alignment with me before I take on the rest of the world. And then I also have come to learn, what are best for my energies. Back in the day when I was working like full-time and going crazy, and I bartended for 15 years at night and did social work during the day, and there was definitely some structure there, but I was burning the candle way too much at all ends, and I wasn't able to give myself that flow I need. Now that I've taken a lot of time and I've healed and I've come back into myself, I've realized that in order to operate at my highest level, there are certain forms of structure that I need, and I find that being my divine masculine energy coming in and parenting me a little bit and saying, okay, Mandee, drink your celery juice in the morning because you know that's going to make you feel really good, and if you show up for this yoga practice or this meditation or this talk, that's going to feel good and in alignment. And so I just love that you brought that up, because structure and discipline can be intimidating, but when you transmute them into more of a devotion to yourself, it's when you can really co-create within your own vessel.
I love that. Devotion to yourself, that's exactly what it is. But many people have shadows and traumas around, understanding yourself, around control, manipulation, being told what to do, when to do it, all of these things that we're moving out of. So I love that. I love that devotion to yourself, because, like you said, if you do not begin your day, I'm very much with you. If I don't begin my day in the way that I wish to experience that day is coming at me. It seems like it's coming at me, rather than me being the active participant and co-creating with all of the experiences that come forth. So how you start your day, you're literally reborn every day. You do not necessarily have to pick up anything that you were carrying from yesterday in the morning time. How you start the day, for me, and I know many people I work with, is like that really sets up how you're going to experience today. So there's no set, I think, rule or anything like that, but like you said, people need to find what is right for them, what works for them, and what raises them to a certain level where they become, this active participant. They're going through life, life is coming through them and as them, not coming at them. And this is our opportunity that we get every single day. Every single day we're reborn, and we tend to pick up the habitual patterns, we can pick up the identity that we have yesterday, but there's nothing set that we must do that. It's just because that's what we've always done. We can literally reinvent, rebirth ourselves every moment, every breath, every heartbeat, but in the human realm, every morning as we wake up and come to the non-physical predominantly to focus on this particular physical expression. We have that great opportunity every day. And gratitude is so key. But there are many other ways, and it's just finding what is right for you.
Exactly, because every single body is different and every soul is different. And as we're starting to show up more and more right now, and many people are feeling and answering a call within their own soul to be part of this bigger thing, and it happens very individually. And as we ascend, competition is really falling away, and we're really starting to move into what each individual has to offer themselves in the world during this, I believe we have many, many lifetimes, and this is just one tiny incarnation in our whole book of lifetimes, and our beautiful souls come down here to learn and play and make a difference and then help this whole realm to grow and ascend. I also love that you brought up breath, because I feel very much like when we're up in the non-physical, that's one of our biggest gifts coming here to Earth, is actually breathing. As far as I can tell and what I've been shown so far, and I'm not super out there in the galaxy yet, but many other planets or places or states of being, we don't get to express and enjoy our sensuality. We can't take a deep breath and enjoy what that air feels like coming into us, or a nice drink of water, or a shower, or smell a rose. And there's so much of this physicality in this world, though sometimes we want to transcend that. I've found that sometimes these physical things are really the magic in life that can help bring us back into the center of who we are and make us realize just how connected we all are to each and every one and thing and being, because I don't even know, because it's just, that's where the magic truly lies. And when you start to get a little subtle and slow down a little and start to operate on your own time, you see signs and beautiful synchronicities and wonderful forms of life that can reactivate you if you allow it.
Absolutely, it's beautiful. The main guides that I've worked with many guides and many collective, generally collective energies, but my first and always my closest guide. We use names because we need names as humans, but they don't necessarily have names. But the name that is used is Ananda. They are non-physical collective consciousness, and they have shared many times through the channeling that they live like, so lots of humans, lots of us think we're looking to try and ascend to this place where it's so much better, where it's so much more peaceful, so much joy, so much abundance, all of these things. In actuality, what they share with us is that they live vicariously through us, through exactly what you just shared there, through the senses, through the sensuality, through the experiences that you literally cannot have experientially and non-physical. You can imagine it, you can, think it, and it's created, but it's not experienced in the way that they experience your physical body in an apparent separate world. And a lot of the things that we think we're trying to transcend, they are actually living vicariously through us and enjoying every moment of it and really sharing like what a gift, what a blessing, and that there's literally souls queuing up around the galaxy to come here, especially here at Earth, this little blue pearl at this time, because this is like Soul Olympics, SOUL Olympics, like the opportunity for growth, for learning, for play, for expansion at this time on Earth is unprecedented in the universe, and that's why the eyes of the cosmos are here. But it's always good to get a perspective that we always think we're trying to get somewhere better when actuality, from another perspective, what we would call a higher perspective, in quotes, they are, I don't want to say envying, but very much enjoying and very much appreciating the experiences that we can have. And that, of course, to also inspire us to see, how blessed we are in that body and this space where we can play and fall and sing and dance and rise and fall again and, keep on discovering through this instantaneous medium of the senses.
Absolutely. Completely agree. And I love that you said Soul Olympics, because it really is. I call it Earth School a lot, but it is. It's a Soul Olympics down here, and there's so many different events and activities and, challenges and things for us to try. And when we do shift to that other perspective, it had me thinking. I've always been very connected to angels in the angelic realm since I was a little kid, and it was something I kind of shut down for a while and then brought back over the past probably 7 years as I stepped more into myself. And angels, I always felt really bad for them. I've come to understand and learn, as you were saying, that when we're up in the non-physical, we often can't feel these lower vibrational feelings here in the earth plane, like guilt, shame, fear, anxiety, regret, things like that. When we choose to come back, we might work on some of those things, but it seems as though we don't carry that energy with us. However, I was always really sad for angels because I could see people having all these, these amazing helper beings and angels wanting to help. And we have this incredible law of free will here in this realm where if we don't ask for the help or give permission, then we often can't receive it. And each of our souls has this entire collection, this whole team that wants to support you and help guide you and connect with you, but you got to ask them for help. And I always felt bad for the angels because I see people walking around who have this incredible angel team hanging around over them and no idea how to access it because we weren't taught it. So for our listeners out there, one of the best ways just to start tuning in with yourself, if you don't do it already, is just to ask. Simply ask for help from your angels, your higher self, your spirit guide team. I like to say helper beings of the highest good, but whatever feels good for you, because there really is a lot of assistance for us while we're down here navigating this too. Because if we think about it, we were just floating around in these, non-physical beings, and then we come into this incredibly dense space and need to adapt to it. And there is other support out there on the other side of the veil. We can't always see it. We can only see about 1% of what exists around us. But as we tune in, we can start to feel it more and more, and they are there to help you.
Absolutely. We are completely surrounded. We are completely bathed, and there's no distance between us. The dimensions are all, they're a state of being, they're a state of frequency of vibration. So everything is right here. like you said, we just can't perceive it. Well, there's an aspect of us is always perceiving it, but the aspect of us that is chosen to come in period form as human, by definition, needs to have a limited sense so that we can experience what we want to experience. And just to your point, because this is something that I experienced as well, that I heard a lot during the beginning of my journey, and actually still at times when things get challenging, just ask, and then the help is there, and it is. But what I found within myself, and I found from others, is that some people would ask, but inwardly, there's still this part where they won't, and I know myself, won't fully open to receive help. We can ask, we'll be open to ask, we're here, and we're open to ask, but we're not in this place of surrender, of alliance, to be able to be, because again, we can ask, but energetically, if we are closed to receiving that help, or we feel like we have to do it alone, or there's deep held belief systems that mean that, that I can say that, but truly I feel like it's not going to come. We have to find a way to really surrender, and it's simple, but it's hard. It feels like it's very simple, but it's challenging. It's being blamed on you to do it on your own, or to energetically close to that support, even if outwardly it feels like we're asking. So that was something that was very key for me to realize, that outwardly I may have been thinking that I was open, but inwardly I was really close to that support.
Absolutely. I've definitely experienced that myself. And just being, raised in this society, none of us stood a chance. We've been under a patriarchal influence for about, 5,000, if not more years now. And it's hard to allow yourself to receive. It's hard for people to ask for help because we often associate that with weakness or feeling like we're not capable or we don't deserve it. There's a lot of worth that goes into that too. And I'm really glad you brought that up, because when you do allow yourself to be open to receiving, the gifts can come in and the signs can come in so much more clearly. When our bodies are in a state of overwhelm, I consider overwhelm any of the lower vibrational feelings, whether it's grief, shame, fear, anxiety, anything that makes us feel icky or overwhelmed. The way that I've seen it is our higher selves and our angels and our team say, oh no, my being, I love you, but you're overwhelmed. I'd love to give you, $1 million or a new friend or a day off from work or that creative idea you're calling in, but I can't because your energy is overwhelmed and it's telling me you're not able to receive, which often can close off some of our chakras and our portal of receptivity. So a lot of times I do this with myself, and I'll encourage clients when they're in that moment of overwhelm and they're calling and they're asking for help to take a minute and practice the medicine, whether it's taking a few breaths and going over 10 things you're grateful for, doing a little breathing exercise, some tapping, meditation, a little walk to reground in. It's going to help open up those avenues of receptivity. Because if we are clogging up our fields with all of our feelings that we're having at that time, which are valid and you're allowed to absolutely go through them, but sometimes it can create some interference, I've come to notice. And when we can start to control the feelings that we're having around us and open them up, then we're able to receive and perceive in whole different new ways.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. And again, there's individuals to each, but there are tools and there are ways and there are unique gifts that each individual has in a way that they can shift their vibration so that they can be in that state of receptivity, even if it looks like on the surface that they are. We know by how we feel that true feeling. A lot of times we can get true feelings mixed up with thoughts of past events that aren't actually representative of our true feeling, our true inner being feeling, can get mixed up with thoughts of what happened or what we were told happened to someone else, and then we do tend to confuse thoughts with our true feelings, because our true inner feelings never mislead us. They are always true, but they can be veiled or covered or kind of disguised as thought forms that are kind of maybe through trauma, maybe through events that have come around that make us feel like, or make us think in a way that this is how I feel, but actually this is a trauma response, or this is something that has happened to me, and now that thought is actually covering my true feeling, and that, outwardly the thought of saying, I need help, and inwardly, that it's that closing down. So whatever way each individual can find, again, spend more time in the timeless. There's no drawback to it. You don't age. You regenerate yourself. You're out of time, and you open yourself in a way that allows the magic and the miracles that are already so, to become manifest.
Absolutely. So beautiful. It's not an easy thing. Everything you're talking about, for me, that's the work. That's the real work. Getting in there, becoming really conscious of what your actions are, what your reactions are, what that reaction actually looks like and where it's coming from. Is it something that's related to a past trauma or drama or thought process? Is it something that's pure and factual within you? This is where that work all takes place, when we can practice that pause and say, okay, what energy am I responding with and putting out in the world right now because of the situation that just happened? It's really hard for us to release the past. It's true that, time doesn't really exist, and the only thing that truly exists now is the present. And often, it takes a little bit of conscious work to release the past or the way it impacted you. And in particular, what I see the most is for people is holding on to just the fear and the guilt and the shame of how maybe they showed up in that lifetime, or how they acted on the side of an experience that they perceived. And then those feelings of guilt and shame tend to keep us bound the most.
Yeah, I think everyone listening to this is or has gone through the depths of those things. So that's what the 2020 vision year has been all about, this global awakening. The deepest depths of what has been unseen is coming to be seen, and that collective shift happens through our individual interactions, through each of our challenges in relationship, each of our challenges with our own self-worth and self-love and self-care, and our families and our work, and all of those things. The collective shift happens individually, each individual. So it means every tear that you drop, you're healing for the collective. Every breakthrough that you have, you are expanding for the collective. It's not these grandiose, way out there things. You are all of those, that you're choosing, and we all are choosing consciously and unconsciously to individually shift the collective, one breath at a time, one heartbeat at a time. And it's a beautiful gift, but it's sometimes, especially in these times, we're recording this towards the end of 2020, and this time has been intense for everyone. But the intensity of what we're going through is indicative of the expansion that again, it's already here, but we're about to be able to see what we couldn't see before, as well as the darkness, the guilt, the shame, all of the things that have been hidden from humanity, that they're becoming unseen. Also, the divinity, the majesty, the magnificence, the beauty, the power that has been hidden from us as well. So the depth of the shadow and the magnificence of the light becomes seen as well. So it's not just one side, but a lot of what has been unseen in the shadow of the dark side, or the guilt, the shame, all of these things, those have been ignored more, so they are going to be more prevalent. But the expansion is in a circular motion, not like a linear line, up, down, it's an expansion in all ways. So we experience more of ourselves in all ways. So I feel like whatever you're going through at this present moment, there's always that present moment, is perfect for you individually and for the collective, and just trust that nothing can be in your experience that is not designed for you and by you and through you. And it's just remembering that, and like you said, taking a breath, get into nature, play with the child, play with the animals, that whatever it is changes your state back into that innocence, and then come back to let the ability to move through.
And it's funny, I was just giggling into myself. I was talking to my mom this morning because holidays are coming up, and one of my friends has a sister who's an opera singer and always sings Holy Night at this one church. And I said, I think I'll go to a Christmas Eve service and I'll go watch her. And my mom's like, really? And I was like, yeah, I haven't been in a long time. She's like, you used to love that as a kid. I'm like, I did. And then I stopped liking it. I'm like, but now I like it again. And she told me of a memory that she had when I was like 2 or 3. And I went to this Christmas Eve service and they were singing. And I don't know, the music like took over and I jumped up on this pew and I started dancing and tapping my feet everywhere. And I was so excited. And my mom said that she really liked it, but that we got all of these really bad looks. And some of my shadow work has to do with my grandmother, and she was always feeling really, dimming my light because I was loud and all the things and whatnot, because it embarrassed her because it wasn't acceptable at that time. And so she said that, my Nana made me get down right away. And it was really interesting because it's so funny how sometimes one action that one person makes, doesn't have anything to do with another person, but it's all about how they choose to react to it. So like in that situation, I was probably just like a little kid. I don't even remember this. I was like 2, and I was probably just, trying to shine the light and be myself and jump into the music, and it like evoked me. But at the same time, that one action brought shame to someone else. And when these things happen, and as we're approaching the holidays, and whether you do get to see your family these holidays or you don't, it's really important just to stay in your own sovereign energy and realize, I love this, comes from the 4 agreements, but like nothing anybody else does really has to do with you. It has to do with your own experience or the way they're perceiving it. And a lot of times triggers can come up over the holiday season. People will look at their shadows because often they're spending time with family members or their primary caregivers from their first 7 years of life. And those first 7 years are so important when it ingrains, how we choose to react with the world and where we're taught what's okay and what's not. So like for me as a little kid, there's been many times where I would have just jumped up and danced or been loud or this or that, and then was told, no, that's not okay, stop, that kind of thing. And I realized for me that contributed to a bit of like a good girl syndrome in my work and in my way of perceiving the world and showing up, because I didn't want to cause harm or cause anybody else embarrassment all the time. I always thought I was causing people embarrassment because I was picking up my grandmother's energy at the time. And it wasn't just me. There was a lot of things that would bring her a lot of, embarrassment and guilt or shame. But during those first 7 years, that impacted upon me. So it had me thinking as we were talking about all this, that as, we move forward, remember whatever other people are doing, it's not really your business, and you are in your highest good. And whether, as long as you're making decisions based on what your heart wants most at that time, and it's a genuine, not from a place of ego or greed or selfishness, it's something that your heart wants most at the time, when you follow it, it often ricochets for the highest good of everyone else involved. And so my mom, when she was telling me about the story, she's like, oh, yeah, like, your Nana was upset, but there was like all these other people who were laughing and smiling, and it was bringing joy. And it's these little tiny moments where we have an opportunity to work on how we respond and what energies we are wanting to hold. So like this morning when my mom told me that, I hadn't thought about it at all. It's not something on a conscious level, but because it came into my realm, I thought, oh, this is probably coming up just from some deeper level of healing. And I sent younger Mandee a little bit of love and, said, it's okay to let yourself out and not keep yourself so bound because of what other people might think or say. And so this work, it's simple, but it's not easy. And it's these tiny little moments or sometimes a memory that helps us to just release. Like I said, that wasn't even conscious, but my higher self probably brought that memory in this morning just so that I could clear it up a little bit more out of my biomagnetic field and pull closer into who I truly am authentically and what it is I want to share with the world at this time. So sometimes it can be the tiniest conversations, moments, or memories that allow us to do a little bit of this shadow work and step more into who we are and who we came here to be as a sovereign being. Now, my Nana, who I love, she didn't come in here to probably be a bright light and tap dance and, share in that way. So it might have made her a little uncomfortable at the time. But that's okay. We have to stick to what makes us feel good and what lights us up the most at this time, and trust it's for the highest good of everyone involved.
I love that. I want to share something, kind of vision that I got when you shared it. It's going to be a little funny. You can come to me like this. The first thing I want to share, another thing I feel like you spoke like that, is I feel like it's amazing that you're going back to, you want to go back to do that now. I feel like that is a returning of a cycle, and that is a very, very important thing, that you're returning that cycle, and you got this feedback and this memory, and that was a lot of things maybe that influenced this life. And like so the grandmother maybe wasn't playing that role, but she has given you an opportunity for what the transcendence of this will bring, which is so much more expanded and so much more full. That sometimes it can take half a lifetime, and for some people it can take a whole lifetime without finding the gold in that. I think it's beautiful that you're going back, and as you spoke, it's kind of funny way to get, as you spoke about that hymn, because I was born in Northern Ireland, Catholic, and I was brought up very much in the church, like completely from birth to 16 years old until I kind of rebelled. And as soon as you said that, I don't really know if this is in the movie or not, but when you said that, I was thinking of Home Alone, the movie, Oh Holy Night. But then as you spoke on, I was seeing so this is like a combination of Sister Act and Home Alone. So like in that joyful way of expressing yourself in this way. Nothing's going to happen, but the energy that I was feeling was that like this combination of Sister Act and joyful expression of song and dance and everyone raising their energy, and it's just like silent, soft song with fire. So it was like a combination of Home Alone and Sister Act. I have no idea what I feel, but I had a little smile when I was seeing you and feeling you, expressing yourself widely, fully, joyfully, but having this serenity and this softness and this gentleness, and it's kind of like this marrying of the masculine and feminine, where they come together now, and we have that power with that presence. So I thought I'd share that.
Well, thank you. That was beautiful. And I think your psychic spidey senses were kicking up, because Sister Act is actually one of my favorite movies. And I got it when I was like 5 and obsessed with it. My favorite movies at 5 were Sister Act and Dances with Wolves. And my mom's like, what is up with you, kid? But I was obsessed with it. And still to this day, I was just up in Vermont. My best friend's going through some grief right now, and I was spending time with her. And that song or that movie came on. She had the TV on or something, or I did, and I left it on, and we had like a dance party to it. And I was like, wow, this evokes so much pure nostalgic joy, and I got to remember that. So I think that's so cool you tapped into that.
I love that. I was seeing you. And feeling you. More important, I was feeling you. Like expressing in that joyful way, and having this coming full circle. So the experience of the grandmother that you didn't even know actually, consciousness, because you're so young, but that impacted a lot of your life, as all of us have many unconscious things, and now it's come full circle, and I just see this like joyful, beautiful expansion. So that's amazing. I love that.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it so much. What a beautiful reflection. Like we say in the beginning of every show, we never know where Spirit's going to lead us. And, I didn't know we were going to chat about all that. But it's just amazing how these subtle, tiny moments, every single moment is an opportunity to learn and grow. And that's the other thing, too. If you're growing, and things are spinning out and you're highly sensitive and you need to take a day and lay in bed or watch some nostalgic movies, allow yourself, because integration is so important as well. And as you were talking about before, trying to ascend, it's interesting because, yes, we're trying to ascend in our level of consciousness and our level of awareness, but that ascension actually creates so much more present into our current reality and realm. And so it's a really difficult and hard balance. And sometimes, we sensitive people need to just take some time and just chill out, too, and let ourselves just be the humans that we are in this realm.
Totally. And Home Alone was just came up, so you couldn't get much more human than that. For the childhood movies for me, I mean, probably so many people, and yeah, I do it rightly. I mean, I don't do it as much in that way as much as I probably should, and every word that you say, I know it. But my kind of take it easy is switching everything off and going and watching like movie or something like that. But we have done it at times, like doing these movies and watching movies that myself and my wife love, and it's just amazing. As long as it takes you out of your normal drama, it's perfect. It's so good. It's so good. You can transport it. And what I find when I've done that is I begin to see things in these movies that I watched millions of times that I never saw before, that I see with completely new eyes, and speak to me in new languages, because everything is multidimensional, but maybe as a child or maybe through their trauma or whatever, we see things in certain ways. We look at them with new eyes, in a new space. It's amazing what hidden in plain sight. I get a lot of songs as well, like songs I think I know well, and then one day I just hear these words, like I'm literally singing songs, thinking I'm singing songs, and then I maybe see it written down, or I hear someone else say it, and then, oh, I didn't even know that was in that song, and it speaks to you in that moment. It's amazing. So movies are an amazing way for that as well. It's just, really unplugged. Everything needs a reboot and restart, so whatever way that works, go for it.
That's, just dancing and putting on some music is one of my favorite medicines. Growing up, I was always really into music. I loved it. I was a DJ all through high school and college. Not like a real DJ, more like a DJ push play. But I loved the energy and hosting and getting people, happy and excited and having a good time. And as I was envisioning some of these events I was going to have this year, this whole concept of like a dance church is really rising. And I'm excited. We can definitely do it in our own homes and on video, but I'm excited. I miss concerts and people being together when music can come in between you, because it really does change your perspective. It heals. Sound is going to be one of the biggest healing frequencies and waves and arts that there is as we keep ascending and tuning up our consciousness and our vessels. And music is one of just the best ways to do that, to change your perception, to change your vibration or your attitude. Even if you're having a really bad day or you're really sore. I have fibromyalgia. Luckily, I've really kept it at bay the past few years, but there's been times when it's really flared up where, I can just put on a slow song and move my hips and that's it, but it changes my entire perspective for everything that day. So it doesn't matter how big or how small or where you're at in your life. It's just when you pair a conscious decision with some sort of intention and then you allow that energy to move it, whether it's just a tiny bit of a hip move or a big dance church event or changing your whole energy, it really can serve you and transmute and transform you in ways that you can't even be conscious to.
Yeah, that's amazing. Music is such I was a DJ as well. I 20 years of my life, and I never really stopped loving it. I really stopped practicing because of the environment it took me to, but I still to this day, we dance every single day. My son is now 2 and he's cheating. He's just been used to it, and now he's calling me up every single day, and music is magic medicine. Music, nothing else. The speed and the power that music can transform you is just magical. And so untapped, the potential of sound, you're barely scratching the surface, and that's one of the unseen that's going to become seen along the way of the potential of sound. That's just going to become, it's flourishing and it's growing in awareness now, so it's magical to see. And just one other thing I want to say is as you spoke, is that how that moment that your grandmother has inspired and has given the opportunity for what you just said, at dance church, you see now how that moment has, even if you weren't consciously aware of it, and then your love of Sister Act and all of these things, that started from that moment where you were being that in the fullest and it gets shut down. So then the whole life has become, and all these pieces coming up, and then you're going to create that, and you're going to love that. Again, not completion, expansion, that's coming full circle, and then take it to its next level, and you're going to create your own. I just love that. Absolutely love it.
I do too. Thank you for showing up and holding the space with me today to help reveal that, because I wasn't expecting any of that either. And it's something I've been longing for a little, but I'm like, okay, COVID time, I got to wait it out a little because it's not super acceptable for me to be leading that at the moment, but I feel it rising and it is beautiful. And I appreciate you helping me to look back and realize all the dots that connected through there.
I can feel it, the energy, and I can feel it so powerful, and it's so amazing. I want to go. I want to jump across the pond and go. I want to come down to the hill. It'll happen. It'll happen.
Oh, matter of time. And time is nothing, as we know now. So it will happen before we know it, and it's going to be wonderful.
Oh, that's amazing. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Just love it all. Actually, it's kind of interesting as I'm reflecting upon this whole church thing. Something that I always resonated with was this Magdalene energy. I never knew what it was until about 5 years ago or so when I started doing some work with Rebecca Campbell. And I didn't understand what the whole, Magdalene essence was. But there is a picture of me, like I was getting baptized at like age 4. My mom waited for one of my younger brothers to be born. So he was like a year and I was like 4. And I'm sitting there with like my hand on I'm like sitting on, I guess it's like kind of steps up to the altar or whatnot, and I'm sitting there kind of waiting my turn with like my face in my hand and like rolling my eyes like, oh my God, this again? Like such little Mandee attitude. And when I look back on that, I'm like, oh, there was so much of me that was aware and awake, and there were things that resonated so true with me that I'd learned in church, and then things where I'm like, no, that's not the case. Pretty much anything dogmatic or that created too many rules or encouraged feeling guilt or shame, like from the time I was born, I was like not down with. And I'm bringing this up because as we're talking about it, and you talked about how you were raised in it, so much of your energy often I associate with that Magdalene type energy. And I think Magdalenes can be men or women. It can be both. I think Jesus was one. I think it's these amazing energy healers who are able to alchemize and speak truth and hold space simply in the being that they are. And every time you speak, that energy, just like so many energies come through with you that I associate with you. But that's one of them is the Magdalene consciousness that, though you're masculine, in this lifetime, that I feel like you embody so much and you teach and you share so much about. And I just want to thank you for that because it's not always easy and it's got to be brave. And I've been able to see some of your lives and some of your vulnerable moments, and you've apologized on behalf of men and collective, and like you've done some serious work to bring together the union of the masculine and the feminine in this lifetime. And I appreciate that so much, brother. And I just want to thank you for shining that light.
I really, really appreciate that. Your sense of that too is clear because in all of the energies that I've connected, the most impactful, the most emotional, the most strong is whenever I'm connecting with that Magdalene energy and I'm teaching them the roles and the wisdom of the roles. That aspect is so powerful, and I even get emotional just even talking about it now. And it's rarely a time that I'm connecting with that energy and channeling it, sharing it, that I don't do blood and tears because it's beautiful. I love the way you shared it as well. Is that it's a universal energy, and we have characters that are the male and female that are part of that and represent that. And I feel truly that we are part of that, and so many are in so many ways, and it's magical. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, thank you. Magical Martin and Mandee today. Pulling in all the magical energies. We have about 5 minutes left in our show, and I was wondering if you would just share one more time how people can get a hold of you if they want to follow your work or work with you one-on-one.
Sure. So I'm most active on Facebook, so Martin McNicholl on Facebook, but I also have YouTube pages, hours of interviews and channeling and dance parties and lots of things that are all on there. It's easy to find. I'm also the website martinmcnicholl.com. I am not so actively keeping that up to date because of all the linear challenges, but it's always a way of connecting, and there's stuff in there. But like I said, I like like what we're doing now, like in the moment interaction. So live videos are what I like to do. So I multi-stream whenever I'm streaming, whenever I get inspired. So it streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all of these platforms. And I like doing it spontaneously. So all of those platforms you can find me, and the website will have all of the details as the whole one.
Perfect. It's all perfect. And for our listeners, if you want to find Martin, you will. And if you have a hard time, reach out to me or send me a message, and I'll make sure you guys connect. You also have another show with one of our other amazing sisters who I have not been able to connect with one-on-one, but I love following her light, Melissa Dehan. And she's got a show today on Soulology with you, I believe, right?
Yes, it's amazing. So, Melissa, the whole 2019, I was guided to facilitate a New Year's Rescue, and I connected with Melissa, well, just before that, but very much through that year, last year, 2019, and just to watch, like, her evolution, she is incredible, like, literally incredible. So powerful, so beautiful, so raw, authentic, and now she has, well, she just keeps going. She's so she's got her own show now, Soulology, with called Mandee, her own show as part of Soulology. And this is going to be her first show today, and that's why I'm interested that these both invitations to co-create came on the same day. So, yeah, 2 hours time I'll be doing that. It'll be Melissa's first show. She's called Real Talk. So, yeah, that's going to be amazing.
Fantastic. Well, I encourage our listeners to tune into that and check it out because it's going to be a beautiful discussion. I have absolutely no doubt about that. Martin, thank you so much for holding and sharing space today and shining your light and your current truth and your magic. That's another thing. We've got magic, Monday, Martin, Mandee, Melissa, so many M's today. I don't know what that's about, but.
Yeah, we are so aligned with magical, miraculous meeting of minds.
Oh, there you go. You're my man, pulling in those alliterations. Speaks to my heart. Do you have any final words or offerings that you want to share with our guests, just about embodying this concept of New Earth and navigating that and what that looks like to you?
Yeah, I would like to say that everyone is completely unique. Like we are each multidimensional snowflake, and try not to compare yourself, and try not to you emulate others, look and watch what others are doing and take what resonates. This kind of culture that is falling now, thankfully, but this like kind of these protected gurus or protected systems or dogmatic, like we should have, is to what I encourage and invite people to do is find that everyone has a piece of the puzzle for you, but you're the one that makes the whole picture. So don't necessarily feel like you have to go a certain pathway. It doesn't feel true to you. It doesn't, and then it'll align with you for a short time, and then the way things happen like in an instant, it can just like shift, and it doesn't any longer. So be soft, be malleable, be easy to let go, and trust that everything that is in your environment, everything in your circumstance, every person, every place, every event is an opportunity. It is a potential to discover more of yourself, and especially those parts that we don't like, the parts that are challenging, the parts that bring fear, bring sadness, bring grief. Those are opportunities, and to honor the human as well, honor our human aspect, honor our need to rest, to breathe, like you said. So it's this fine balance that things perfectly aligned in the way that they need to be. You're exactly where you need to be.
Exactly where we need to be. Oh, that rings true, brother. And I'm glad you brought up just the grace of letting go. So many of us right now, there's so many different things, whether it's your job or your career, projects you were working on or plans you had. So many things that we thought, were meant for us at this time, we're being called to let go. And sometimes that happens, with relationships or different things. And when you can allow yourself to let it go, because sometimes that can be really hard, transmutive, powerful energy, because we're often taught to operate out of scarcity or to hold on to what we have or to keep it precious. And sometimes in order to ascend, we need to allow ourselves to let go gracefully. Not always easy, but so potent and so important.
And just to your point, one final thing, because everything is getting very much polarized, depending on whether you're listening to it. Everything is getting polarized. It's this balance again of being in your truth without needing to oppose any other seemingly, opposed to seemingly the opposite. You can being your truth, being your strength, being your authenticity, without having to risk another truth. So I think that's really important to let be, let go, let God, and let others have their experience without you needing to not bending yourself, but also not having to resist or convince someone else of your truth.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in here on Heart Over Ego Radio. Check us out. Give us a follow or a like. We're on Facebook and Instagram and on all major podcast apps under Heart Over Ego Radio. We have about 7 or 8 shows right now and more coming each and every day. And it is such an honor to hold space with each and every one of you who tune in. And thank you so much again, Martin, for showing up and gifting us with your presence.
Thank you so much, Mandee. It's an honor and pleasure to connect with you, and thank you all who listen and share your beautiful work, and I just absolutely love reconnecting with you. It's beautiful. Bless you, sister.
You as well.